And the battle's just begun. There's many lost, but tell me who has won. Trenches dug within our hearts, and mothers, children, brothers, sisters torn apart. I was gonna do a Pogue song, but this movie does not warrant the Pogue, so you get you two.
Bloody Sunday. Let's all do our worst Irish accents.
I mean, they're certainly doing.
Yeah.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Oh man. All right. Oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, we're talking about the Boondock Saints.
That's why we're doing lousy Irish accents. All the three of us, all three of us are doing crappy accents and slipping up here and there.
You know what I like? Guns. I like
guns.
Guns.
If someone let me into a big room full of guns and just said, take whatever you want, be happy as a leprechaun on St. Paddy's Day.
And there are tanks, and there are bombs, and there are guns.
Zombie.
Whoa, I thought we were doing the Cranberries album.
This is,
what's in your head, Joshua?
What's in your head?
So enough of this. I have contained my rage for as long as possible. So the way the story goes is this. In 1995, quote unquote, writer director Troy Duffy had witnessed a drug addict take some money off of a dead body across the hall from him where he was living in LA. And he thought to himself, someone ought to do something.
Right.
And if not now, when? And if not him, who? And if not something meaningful, then how about something completely meaningless? So that's just what Troy did. He sat down, he hammered out a screenplay like nobody's business, and then in like '96, he got that screenplay into the fat, sweaty, grabby palms of none other than Harvey Weinstein. Over at Miramax.
Ah, that's how it happened.
And he greenlit the fuck out of that, and then almost immediately realized, I don't want the good name of Harvey Weinstein to be associated with something like this trash. So, and then he pulled the funding. But Troy Duffy, he was just the little engine that could, and some other producer came sniffing around, smelled a payday, got his little opus into theaters, and then turned it into a goddamn cult classic. So what's it about? It's two super deep Irish Catholic twins. So deep, guys.
They have tattoos with Latin in them.
Yeah,
Latin in the tattoos.
Deeper than that.
Did we even say the name of the movie yet?
No, I did at the beginning. We'll come back around to it. Don't worry. And these two twins, they're twins. Did you guys get the twins? Yeah,
twins.
They hate crime so much that they just gotta shoot everyone over it.
They're good boys.
Also, Willem Dafoe's in it, and that's it. That's the movie. Brian, why?
What are you looking at me for? It was
Brian, this was your choice.
No,
you put it on the list. It did come up as a rando, but you were the one who put it on the list. So I want to know
who's
why.
responsible. Who's responsible?
I'm not saying you made the movie. I'm just saying I watched it because of you.
Should we two, Joshua and I, vigilante style, take you out for putting it on the rando list? Shall we?
Yeah.
I think this movie was all the rage in a weird, like it came out in 99, but like early 2000s, this had like, it's one of those polarized movies where it's like, have you seen the fucking Boondocks? Like this, it had some sort of like, kind of like nowhere near the same league, but the same kind of conversation of like, shit, have you seen Pulp Fiction or like Reservoir Dogs kind of thing? And you're like, oh no, man, I gotta fucking see it. And I remember like this was a movie. So 99, I would have been a senior in high school, probably going into freshman in college. So this is like, perfect fodder for 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, where they think like,
it's dickhead catnip.
Yeah. It's like, probably fucking think of posters on like dorm walls of this shit. And you're like,
100%.
oh, okay.
They already have a Reservoir Dogs poster.
Yeah. And like up next to the Bob Marley poster.
Yeah, there's room for one more.
So that kind of shit. But then, so I think I couldn't remember. I do recall watching it once and I couldn't remember if it was good or not. But I do remember that like it had this weird like cachet to it. Like, oh, it's so whatever stylistically blah. And so I was like, you know what? I should rewatch that. And I think I just threw it on the list because someone hadn't seen it. I mean, I
definitely had not seen it.
Yeah, so I vaguely
I had not
remembered
seen
it,
either,
but
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
just remember people like, it's one of those like it's a cult classic, and I was like, why? All right, let's rewatch this dumb thing.
And Brian thought, and as I recall, I think we both kind of liked it. Well, hey, that's one thing we've got. 18-year-old Brian. I hadn't seen it either, and because I'm from the Boston area, all these people were like, "You haven't seen the Boondock Saints?
Yeah,
Oh
see?
man, come on! You haven't seen the Boondock Saints? You're gonna love it because you're from the Boston area, man. The Boondock Saints." So I was like, God damn it. This and the fucking Sandlot were the two movies probably that people have most often told me that I had to see. Had to see this movie. And finally someone made me see it, and it was this podcast.
And I said, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
I said, I think I remember the film, and it had a really racist character by Andy Rooney. Mickey Rooney.
Christ, man.
It'd be great if it was Andy Rooney. I'm Chinese. That doesn't make any sense. I'm a white guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Boondock Saints being a really racist character.
Oh no,
because they also have that going
Breakfast
for
at
them.
Tiffany's, where Mickey Rooney plays the Chinaman who lives upstairs.
Yeah, the neighbor.
Oh, good lord, good lord.
So I don't know where to start with this movie, honestly.
Start back in '99.
Yeah, so it got released. It made like $25,000, but then it came out on DVD, and like all of a sudden, word of mouth, it spread like wildfire, and then every new metal fucking douchebag probably was just spreading this shit all around, and like, herpes, it's fucking everywhere. So this
one comment I didn't know was that it was straight to video. I didn't know that until I was like,
to video, like the Lion King 2.
Cool.
Direct to video.
Don't do that to the Lion King 2. It deserves better than this comparison.
Joshua,
Scar's revenge. Like, he died. Not
do you
in this
think?
movie.
Do you think you could give us a small summary of the plot?
Oh my god!
It's like, this is definitely a nice price bin movie.
All right, so I didn't even write down the actors. I normally go into IMDb and I dump out these are all the people. So
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah, Sean Patrick, and the other guy
Norman
from
Reedus.
Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead.
From The Walking Dead. He's really, really famous now.
And I don't know why, because he's terrible in this.
Yeah.
He's probably the most famous person in this, including Willem Dafoe, if you're talking to the average
at
population.
The time.
Yeah, like right now, probably many more people know him from the Walking Dead crap, and he has a spin-off show too.
All right, so there's these two brothers, and they go to mass one day because they're very Catholic, and the priest is given, I don't know, the police blotter for some reason from the pulpit, reading off a crime that's gone on, and they've had it.
They run out of material quick in the church.
They are so invested in their community because they've taken time to build up their characters, and you learn this about them, about some tragic thing that happened in the past, and they don't. I'm fucking kidding. They're just two dudes who go to church and decide they don't like crime. And there's a little bit of backstory that they're blue collar. They go to work and punch women in the face because they disagreed about the shift or something.
The woman was big, so she had
so it's
it
okay.
coming.
It's
okay to punch her in the face because she's a big lady.
So there's that, and then they just go start shooting people, vigilantes they're bad. Like the people they're killing are criminals.
Yeah,
more so than they are, I guess. Maybe it's because the people they're killing are like Ron Jeremy and people who are not Irish.
I doubt that anyone that they kill, like character-wise, has killed as many people as they kill by the end of the movie, where you're like, you guys are like horrendous mass murderers, and they're like, it's all for Jesus. You're like, a Latiny, luli, spirity, sancti, Irishy, bullshitty, barley.
God. This is how we do it in the old country.
Oh, that's how we do it.
Yeah,
so then Willem Dafoe's an FBI agent, and he's eccentric, I think is how he's billed, but really that's just code for he's gay. But he's not the kind of gay you're thinking of. He's a different kind of gay. one that you like as the audience, as like your bros, where you're watching this, can like, yeah, see, they're just like, he's just like us, except for, you know, he's gay, and then he's like
he hates gay people too,
and he's like he's a preternatural investigator. He's like Batman.
He's a sniffer.
Yeah, he can walk into a room and do like 15 minutes of stand-up with all of the other investigators who don't know how to do their fucking job. And you know this because he just proves them wrong with every sentence.
But wait, first, you have to take out your massive CD Walkman and put on like Puccini.
He has a method.
And your headphones on, where it's like as big as a fanny pack. You're like, oh my God, how old is this movie? Shit.
Yeah.
And he puts on his headphones, and then he has to like, you know, flamboyantly wag his hands
Points to
around.
The bullet over there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm conducting the air, and it's all the crime is flowing through my gay detective hands, and I'll figure out all this stuff. It's like,
it is important to the plot that he's gay.
It is not stereotyped at all. I want to say this in advance. Anyone who is thinking of watching this movie and is like, am I going to see offensive stereotypes of gay people? No. All the things that you thought about gay people, they're true, and they're in this movie. Yep. And you got to see them to know the real truth.
But he's a tough gay man.
Totally.
He's not. He's
a man's man.
He is a homosexual man, and he doesn't like gays.
Yeah, he's like he's a homophobic.
He's self-hating.
Yeah. Like, he likes to have sex with them and kiss them, but like, if you try to do any like gay stuff, like snuggle, he's gonna smack you off the head and call you the F word, because he's not that kind of gay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's as if the writer did a ton, like years of research,
as if the writer
and knows anyone
or family members who would admit to him that they were gay.
To do it justice.
Exactly.
Fun fact about this is this was his first script ever. He had never written anything before.
I'm shocked. I love it. It's funny. I really quickly have to say this because it reminds me of this quote someone had back in the day. Someone was like, you know, all these fucking auteur, it was in the 90s. Someone was like, all these fucking like auteur, like man-child, you know, guys that are making these movies, they keep saying a film by Sean Duffy or whatever the fuck his name is. And you're like, Troy Duffy. They always say a film by Troy Duffy, like it's a franchise. And the person was like, it's more like the film by Troy Duffy. I'm like, yeah, it's exactly fucking right. And this movie says a film by Troy Duffy, and it's his first damn movie. Yeah,
I read one quote where he was like, I was heavily inspired by Tarantino and Scorsese. I was like, you think?
Get your fucking the names out of your mouth. Like, okay,
it's
so
like
then
the Beatles cover band that was heavily influenced by the Beatles. Really?
Oh man,
sorry, Joshua.
No, that's quite all right. Okay. What else happens in this movie? So Defoe's hot on the trail. The guys, the two twins, they have a best friend who's even more of a piece of shit than they are, and we're supposed to like think that I don't know, they're all pallies and shit. Yeah. So yeah, he's super racist, and he just murders people for reasons that aren't explained, and just bystanders and stuff. But he's a protagonist.
But he doesn't until they were like, "You should kill some people." And he's like, "Oh, you think?"
Yeah, he's the funny guy. And I think another fun fact, that role was written for him.
Written for me.
It was like he's like their best friend or something like that. And
Troy Duffy's bud.
It's not far off of how this guy really is. So anyway, so then they're killing, the body counts raising higher and higher, and Willem Dafoe is bending space and time in order to like narrate the action scenes, because the action scenes aren't interesting enough on their own. You got to have Willem Dafoe there to explain the gunshots that are going off.
Yeah.
And then they get Billy Connolly out of prison, Hannibal Lecter style, because he's somebody that was he kills a lot of people back in the day.
He's like the the Irish John Wick.
But they,
Yeah.
but they
he-
call him Il Duce,
I know.
but he's
It's
Irish.
fucking
He's
Italian.
fucking dumb.
Well, he's
and he-
Scottish.
And when they're letting him out of
God.
jail, when they let him out for parole. But by the way, the criminal justice system in Boston works this way: an old Italian man with a roll of patently false-looking $100 bills can just write down a name, and the worst criminals in history
In Ireland
just get let out. They just let them out. They're chained barefoot to the floor. And when they bring them to the room where they are going to, talk to the parole board, who are all unarmed, sitting in like folding chairs, that's when they take him out of his giant cage,
his bird cage,
and put him in front of the parole board.
and their explanation of his character, which again is fucking lazy, because they don't let you get to know the character. They just tell you what you should know about the character. But the way that, like, this guy is a total fucking monster. He doesn't believe in killing women and children. It's insane. This fucking movie drives me insane. God, like he is the most moral person in the entire movie, just because he has this ethos that he doesn't kill women and children, unlike every other character.
Yeah.
So anyway, he gets let loose, and then he gets thrown into the mix, and they shoot at each other a bunch of stuff, and then the twins and Rocco get captured by a Russian, maybe, and then
did you watch the
Italian guy?
Is he Italian?
The Italian mafia head. Yeah.
They're Italian. Why were they speaking
Yes.
Russian earlier?
No, they're against the Russian mafia. The Russian mafia is there. They're against the Italian mafia, but in one sequence, the two brothers bumblefuck through the vent system of the Copley Plaza Hotel.
Yeah.
And fall out of the ceiling with rope dangling around their feet.
So they get
And
captured.
They wipe out the entire Russian mafia with
Yeah.
like one dangle shoot session.
Mm.
Then it's the Italian mafia, because they realize that Rocco, their buddy,
The funny guy.
their long-haired, funny asshole Italian friend, he got set up by his own Italian mafioso brothers, his paisans, you see. They set him up to go in with a 1.6-shooter pistol to try to kill 9 Russians, because they wanted him dead too, for no fucking reason. Because for 18 years, Rocco has been a long-haired, racist, joke-telling, dumbass
Cat killing.
who hasn't killed anyone in his life, and he's been trying to work his way up through the Italian mafia like you do.
For 18
ladder
years?
climbing. 18 years, he says. 18 years. He's been working his way up to try to get to the point where he gets to kill someone. And so they finally are like, you know what? Why don't we just send this guy to his death for some reason? He's been in our
I agree.
organization for 18 years, but like for some reason now we just want him dead. So we're going to send him in with a 6-shooter to kill 9 Russians. And then the twins are like, what are you, fucking stupid? You don't know? They sent you in to die. We sent you in with a 6-shooter for nine fucking, Russians. And he's like,
And we're telling you
"No."
this.
He's like, no, it's not how it works. It don't work like that. You guys are dumb. You're dumb. Fuck. And then he fucking leaves. And then comes back and he's like, okay, what I done was I go to a restaurant, and there was 2 guys, and they were giggling about how they said they was going to send me up the river for the Russians. So I
That's
fucking murdered them all, the 2 dudes. I
And
executed them in the restaurant, and then this fucking bartender, he knew about it, and he thought it was funny, so I fucking murdered him. And now I'm in your side, guys. Fucking
We're happy to
fuck.
have you.
Yeah, and they're like, funny boy.
Welcome to the
Tony.
team.
Welcome to the team. We needed another asshole, and you're perfect for the lot.
Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. 3 assholes.
You need to get a faux Latin tattoo on your hand.
We run in Boston.
Eh,
he reminded me of like the guy Ellis from Die Hard, slacker brother.
Totally. I was like, he's like Ellis from Die Hard. I thought the
Yeah.
same exact thing.
John Booby.
John, Bubby.
He just didn't die soon enough.
John, you're not going to make me say the N-word in this joke, are you? Ah, jeez. I guess I'm going to have to say the N-word in this joke. Good
Hey.
Lord.
Is that Ron Jeremy?
Is that Ron Jeremy in a toupee for no reason?
He's in the nudie booth.
I'm starting to realize why Harvey Weinstein wanted this movie before he didn't want it. Because it's got Ron Jeremy, and it's got that scene where they shoot all the people in the nudie club, and the guy gropes the unconscious woman who passed out from fucking witnessing murder. He's like, and they have a close-up of her perky breasts, like with the nipples sticking up, and he's just like, oh. It's like a cookie. You know, he's like, do I take the cookie? No one's looking. Do I take it? And then he's like, honk, honk, honk. You're like, oh, now I see why Harvey wanted this movie. Like unconscious women who you can grope. Perfect.
But then there's a line right after that where he's like, guys, let me shoot the guys. Let's make up for the whole boob thing. All right.
Yeah, let's make up for the boob thing.
Let me shoot the guy.
Like, and Sean Patrick Flannery is like, you know, he's like, no, I've been wanting to shoot these fellas for ages. I'm like, you thought of this plan 15 fucking minutes ago.
How does he even know who's in there?
Also, you executed 2 men who were just masturbating to like images of women because they're the pit
evil.
Of evil. Evil. It's like none of you 2 jack-offs have ever jacked off.
For jerking off.
No, it's a sin. Oh, it's onanism.
Never onanism. The sin for onanism.
I read the holy book.
Defenestration.
Defenestration.
And if we can't throw you out a window, we'll shoot you through one.
So the whole thing is like this Catholic mysticism thing, like they can do whatever they want because they're righteous.
Yeah, they're righteous boys.
Committing mass murder.
Okay, and so then
under the name of God.
The head of the Italian mob gets picked up by the police, but then Defoe turns bad. Like he was already not great, but he decides to help them from some scene where he wanders into the Catholic Church and he confesses his sins, but
he gets drunk. He
priest
gets drunk
is gunpoint.
He gets drunk at a bar for homosexuals, and at the homosexual bar where he calls someone else an F word or he gets super wasted. And then he stumbles out in the street, and the 2 Irish bug brothers go to the church because they're always going to church after they murder everybody, just to check in.
Those are the rules, man. You just say you're sorry.
The rules.
Do some Hail Marys,
and Meatball Tony is on the sidewalk, like waiting for them to get out of the fucking church, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking hanging out here, whatever." And then he sees a drunken guy stumble out of a bar.
Not a third wheel.
I know, totally. He sees a drunken guy stumble out of a bar, and he's like 78 yards away. And he's like, I bet that's that guy. That's the federal agent who's chasing my fellas.
There's 7 people in Boston.
I better investigate. And he walks after this drunken Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe stumbles into the church and collapses in a confessional booth. And then Meatball Tony goes in and makes a priest go in and puts a gun to his head and is like, hey, you got to tell him everything we're doing's okay. And then the priest, but then
is this a good idea?
One of the brothers sees Meatball Tony stick the gun in the priest's head, and then he's like, no fucking way. No, Meatball Tony's my boy, but he's not going to cap a priest in the church. We're good boys. So he goes into the other booth and like carefully dismembers the screen and then just tears it all out and sticks a gun on Meatball Tony's head. But for some reason, that chain has to exist for the whole scene. It has to be a priest with a gun at his head, Meatball Tony with his head jacked through the fucking other window.
There's so many layers of
brother
coercion
on Meatball Tony's head. And this whole scene has to occur so that Willem Dafoe, who isn't religious at all, his federal agent, can have a talk with a priest, and the priest convince him that God's law is more just than man's law, and that God's law means these 2 fucking idiots get to murder whoever they want.
Strike the wicked.
Bad people. Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a piece of plywood between him and all these guns clacking and really loud whispering, like, don't you fucking do it, don't you fucking do it. Like, what's going on over there, guys? I thought this was a confession booth. Fuck, man, this movie.
He's like, 18th century Roman priest collar. Your taste is in your ass.
Oh my
Ah,
But
god,
not
we
in a
could have
gay way.
we could have
So-
used a little bit more of that in this movie.
I know. And Willem Dafoe, I will say, I like Willem Dafoe, but he is like your friend who's kind of a fuck up and you keep defending him. And then you're like, why do I keep defending you? Because you go to a party with him and he busts a window and calls someone an asshole. And you're like, God, why do I fucking take this guy anywhere? So like sometimes I watch Willem Dafoe and I'm like, God damn it, he's great. And then I'll defend Willem Dafoe to other people. And they'll be like, he's a fucking hack. And you're like, no, he's great. And then you see this movie and you're like, oh, God damn it. Why do I defend you? You do stupid shit like this.
Yeah,
Like,
if this had been the only movie I'd ever seen Willem Dafoe in, I would have.
I know.
What the fuck is this?
He'd already been nominated for an Academy Award for fucking
What are you
Platoon.
doing?
What the fuck?
Well, and he basically just reenacts the Elias platoon scene when he's
I know when he's doing the wave with his arms thing.
I was
Oh
like,
my
what
God.
the fuck is going on?
And like every now and again, he has a scene where he's like, yeah, the perpetrators are, this is what's going on. And if we don't get them now, there's going to be some serious shit that goes down. And you're like, I mean, he was pretty good there,
Yeah.
And then he comes out in the alley and he's like, puts on some opera and like starts waving his hands and being like, why these fucking guys are doing what they're doing. I hate this shit. And he like loses his mind.
And then there was a firefight.
A
Yeah.
fight. And you're like,
which
God damn it.
is like,
Who are you?
he's doing that character to me has already been not done to that like the Gary Oldman character
Totally.
in The Professional is
Yep.
listens to
1000%.
opera
Yep.
and he does these very operatic and like is whatever, and I was like, is this just kind of stolen from Gary Oldman's character, like where he can
Everything is
assess-
stolen from everything else.
This
But it was stolen by a 4-year-old and
Yeah.
not really explained very well.
this is like the everything bagel of movies where he just picked up a plain bagel and like rolled it in a bunch of shit and like dropped it in front of you and you're like, there you go, it's an original.
I thought there could be some like redeeming quality at the beginning, that opening scene, because I thought it'd be kind of cool, or maybe I thought they were going with this, was that by like letting them walk by the priest and the visiting priest is like, what the hell? And the guy's like, no, like they know them. And
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, cool. Well, not cool, but I was like, okay, are they trying to say that these two guys are under the rule or under the protection of the church, right? Like they're doing the work of
Is
the
the
church,
local church in on
Yeah.
it?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
right.
like they're protected or they're doing this under the guise of this church. And like that's kind of interesting. Like, and they're protected within the context of the church,
But again, and I hate to break in here, but again, the way this movie is shot, that scene happens before anything that they do. So that scene happens while they're just humble
Yeah.
Irish meat packermen who just smoke cigarettes and go to the local bar and get shit faced on St. Patty's Day and talk about broads. They're not like the Boondock Saints. They're just the Boondock clowns. At that point, like they haven't accomplished anything. So like, why are they so special?
Yeah. No, I'm saying I completely agree. But
Yeah.
before it's revealed that they're just fucking nobodies, like I was like, oh, that's kind of
Exactly.
cool. Like maybe they're
Yeah.
like these
They're gonna do a thing
high
here.
level assassins that are associated with the church and they do the dirty work of the church or
Totally.
something. And I was like, oh wait, no, it's not that at all. They just punch meat like Rocky. Like, I was like, this is fucking
Yeah,
stupid.
exactly.
Like what the fuck? Like
They
this is-
slap each other with beef.
and then they go and live in this shithole and hang their chains up and sleep on mats on the floor. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, they're fucking losers. What
I know.
They're just guys who go to church.
Well, I will say this from watching it the second time. From watching it the second time and being less mad, I was like,
Less
okay, all right. You have your expectations lowered so much from the first time. It's like,
They were set accordingly the second
right.
watch.
It's like, so this one I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this with an uncritical eye and just think about what someone who likes this movie would have liked when they watched this movie. Try to think about it
Did you
in someone else's mind.
then reach to your right and grab your giant bong?
Just a rip one.
It's just- As it's going through the first third of the movie, you're like, okay, I can see young dudes being like, this is awesome because like these guys are so tough and like they swear all the time. And like, as someone who swears all the time, these guys swear like a ridiculous amount. Like they're like, fuck it. Like the Meatball Tony guy, he just says it every like second word. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah,
But-
he's pretty obnoxious.
But back in the day, you know, when you're 20 or something, I could see people being like, these guys are funny, they're tough, they don't give a fuck what anyone thinks, they like take out criminals. Well, what if you're a regular guy and you're just working your job and you see these pimps and the prostitutes and the guys carrying their big rolls of money and they go to jail and they get out the next day and everything goes along and you're living your crappy little life and they get to do whatever they want, you know. It just so sets the focus of the vigilantism on the side of the right, you know, like in meaning correct,
Righteous.
yeah. That you're like, oh yeah, like if you're a young guy like not thinking critically about this, you're like, these guys are fucking great. They're cleaning up the streets. They're taking the bad people out of the society, you know. Guys are jacking off at hookers, fucking kill them, you know, like they're bad people.
Yeah, they're taking the trash out for us.
Yeah, exactly. They're taking the trash out for us. And in the end, when they're asking the quote real people what they think about the Boondock Saints, they're acting like, oh, we're just asking questions. As a filmmaker,
Exactly.
I'm just asking questions. I'm not giving answers. Just asking questions. I'm just positing things, and then you make of it what you will. And so in this, they're like, well, we do the back. What? No, you're crazy. But over and over and over again, they have someone say, no comment, which means, yeah, I agree. Or they say, there's a bunch of them that say, they should have one of them. They should have these guys in every city. And they say it a few times in the movie.
Sign
you guys
me
should
up.
be in every city. Sign me up. Yeah, I'm in. I'm about to do it myself. And for all the 5 people that are like, no, this is bad. They just want to be famous. All the rest of the people are like, no comment. No comment. Because it's like, of course I agree. These guys are the fucking bomb. So like, they're not doing it. We're just asking questions. They're just telling you. They're telling you vigilantism is great. And that everybody, they say this in the movie, everybody secretly wants to murder everybody who's bad. He's like, this is everyone's.
Yeah.
He's like, you taught about it too. Meatball Tony's like, yeah, I kind of did. Oh, you guys are right.
I'm the most malleable man in the world.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm into your whole murder clique. Like, let me the fuck in.
I've been thinking about getting into this murder game for 18 years.
It's 18 years. He's just been driving cars and watching other people go into houses and kill people and telling jokes at the bar. And he's like, or I could be Pol Pot.
I like how his dying words are
It's
like
the fucking spectrum.
his dying words are never stop.
I know, Jesus Christ.
Never stop.
Keep killing everybody.
Meatball Tony, do you think what we're doing is good or bad? No comment.
Oh my God.
That whole scene, that whole frenetic scene where he's yelling at the 2 women. He's just it's like, what the fuck
God.
is
Dropping
this
the
thing?
B word. He's like slapping him. He's trying to kill him.
He killed her
It's
cat.
again-
And he's waving his gun on their face. Like,
This is all asshole male fantasy land where he's like, you know, hey, I get to tell my woman off and I get to point a gun in a chick's face and I blow up her cat.
This
He
is like
blows up her cat, which is like the exploding head in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, no one saw that coming.
Marvin, yeah.
Yeah, my fucking Marvin, the cat Marvin.
Shot Marvin in the
I
face.
shot Marvin the cat. They should have named the cat Marvin because they ripped that shit off so hard. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's the thing. It's like you know this director was like, and he's got 6 guns. And they start off at his waist and then like in his belly and he goes all the way up to his fucking neck, dude. And he empties all the guns on these guys. And like it's in a suburban neighborhood, so it's like a fucking war. And you're like, yeah.
It's like a really suburban version of the shootout from Heat,
Yeah,
except we're
totally.
in Cherry Hills here and
Flower Potville, Toronto. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Every scene in this movie is like can be described as it's like a better scene in a different movie.
Yeah. And there's just so many like incomprehensible things. Like they catch the three guys finally. The Italian mafia catches the three guys, and they're like, "What do we do with him, boss?" And he's like, "I don't know. Beat him up a little and keep him in the basement." And then they're like, he's like, "Whoa, wait, hold on a second. He goes in and shoots Meatball Tony in the chest and is like, I gotta go get some stuff from the store. And fucking takes off. And he's like, just gives them no instruction. And they're like, what should we do, boss? I don't know, like, just leave him in there, like, an extended period of time.
He's a good leader. Delegating authority.
I know.
Empowering his team.
Do not let any women into this.
Yeah, no, exactly. If someone looks like a hot broad, but she got a fish mouth, don't let her in.
I didn't send her. I did not.
I did not. Because I always send the hottest box.
God damn it. So they shoot Meatball Tony, Rocco. He's dead. He's dying. His final wishes are, never let the party die.
Never stop. Never stop.
And the two twins are fucking losing their
their goddamn
as
minds.
if their mother had been killed in front of them. The worst, most despicable human being on the planet who shoots cats, waves his gun in the face of his roommates, murders people in bars, and like, but
for laughing at him.
Yeah, for laughing at him, and they're treating it as if like their soul has just been ripped out.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
They shot Andrew WK.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He does look like Andrew WK and Ellis
the blood
from Die Hard. The other thing that I was having so much trouble with, man, is one of the Boondock Saints, Sean Patrick Flaherty or Flaherty or whatever the fuck his name is. He looks like Chandler from Friends, but with a neck tat. So it's just like, I just kept seeing him be like, "Yeah, I'll fucking go in there, get Monica, get Phoebe, get Ross. We're gonna start capping motherfuckers." Just like, it's fucking Chandler on a murder spree. It was so distracting to me, man. I was just
did y'all see my tattoo? It says Veritas.
It says Veritas.
Could you be any more dead?
I know.
Oh,
so, yeah, there are a few lookalikes in this that just threw me, man.
All right.
Certainly beat this piece of shit.
Yeah, we have.
You slapped each other in the face with that steak.
Let's rate the sucker. Is on the scale of is it Dreischeid bollocks or is it a mighty crack?
Are both bad? Is it
no, a mighty crack is actually Irish slang for it's a right good time. Pretty good. Dreischeid bollocks is like boring bullshit.
Yeah, I kind of know that one, but I didn't know that.
Who would like to confess?
Yeah, I mean, I think I already gave my review in the opening of this thing, and throughout.
I'm curious
but
how low you can go here.
This movie has no redeemable value at all. There is art, and there is popcorn movies, and there is just entertainment. This does not hold the sniff test on any scale. It is one of the worst things I've ever witnessed in my entire life. If the Catholic Church was like the beacon and the moral compass of society, so it's not working, obviously,
right,
because there's all these criminals around. So these guys are vigilantes, and they're the arm of the Lord. The premise is that, just kill them all then. So there's no moral center to this at all on any level. Like they're vigilantes for the sake of nothing more than folks just want to see people get their heads blown off. And that's literally it. There's no characters that are worth anything other than maybe Willem Dafoe, because he is a bit complicated. He's not three-dimensional. He's just kind of complicated and poorly drawn. But I came away from this movie feeling nothing but disdain. It is nothing is meant to do nothing more than to like poke cavemen in the amygdala and just like make aggression and just like oh yeah, like you see a toilet fall off a building and hit a guy on the head, right? Oh, that's good shit.
Did you just say poke cavemen in the amygdala?
Yeah, like, because the only people who could fucking enjoy this, like on the level that I think the Troy Duffys of the world would like you to enjoy it and sign up to watch Boondock Saints 2.
That's the line of the year. I'm sorry, man.
Is to I have to question, like, what are you doing? Like what, this makes you happy? Like this is horseshit. All of this is horseshit. Like, no, do better. All of you can do better. Like, look, Tarantino does the same thing, but he's a craftsman at it. He makes you care about the characters because he took the fucking time to tell you about them and to make you believe they are a real person that came from somewhere, and they're not great. They're all terrible people too, but you're at least invested in them because they feel like real people. These people do not. They feel like a comic book character that, you know, was written by a fucking idiot. Just like, I don't have the depth of language to properly construct my true feelings on this. So I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Still need to grade it.
That's an F minus. It's a fucking F minus. It's,
okay.
It's like it's a zero. It's a zero. Like, there's nothing lower than this.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say there are a couple of key scenes in this for me that tell me where its center is, and the main one is where, and it's dumb as fuck also. The boys are lying shirtless in their flat, you know, like their shit shack, and there's cracks in the ceiling above them. And as the boys lie there after they've made their first 2 kills with the toilet drop, fucking, like, I don't know, what could only be described as South Boston busted plumbing toilet water comes out of the cracks of the ceiling and baptizes the lads as they sleep. And they start stirring, and they look up, and they have this fucking moment where Boston toilet water is dropping on the boys and anointing them with the Jesus water of the Lord of South Boston, and they're like reborn from this moment. And this is what creates them as the Boondock Saints, as far as I watch the movie. This is like, you know, before there were a couple of ham slappers who dropped the toilet on someone because they were forced to defend themselves, but now the Lord Jesus went through the plumbing of South Boston to fucking anoint them as his arms of justice, you know? And they're like, hey, we've been reborn. It's this baptism scene. And from then on, the movie is like, these guys are doing the Lord's work quite literally. And, you know, they have it again in the church, you know, all this shit comes up in the church. And there's that, and then the other scene is when they're talking to Meatball Tony, and it's the night that he joins their crew and blows up a cat, and they're like, you know, come on, yeah, you should. We're just doing what everyone else wants to do, you know, and yeah, if you think about it, everyone on Earth sits around thinking about how they want to kill every single person who ever did a bad thing, and he's like, yeah, you know, when you say it that way. And he's like, I walk down the streets and there's like pimps, there's like a crackhead coming after me and a homeless guy, and they're coming at me and grabbing at me and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is like right-wing shit, you know, where you just demonize like people that don't have stuff. And you're like, if only we could Rudy Giuliani the fucking situation here and just grab all the squeegee guys and the homeless guys and people that are doing drugs and just like arrest them all, toss them in jail, and then like shit them out to New Jersey, you know, when you're done with them. Like, that's the fucking mentality of this movie. It's like, you know, instead of that, we take it a step further. we fucking do them. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and like everyone agrees. And these guys become massive psychopaths, not sociopaths, but psychopaths in the snap of a pair of fingers, where they bust into the Russian mafia thing upside down, murder 9 guys in a room, come back, and they're like, Norman Reedus is like, hey, was a bit messed up, and he's like, yeah, I'm strangely fine with it. And he's like, yeah, I as well. Hey, look, a pile of money. Oh, it's our lucky day. And you're like, okay, so nobody has any fucking morals at all. And like, as soon as anyone comes into contact with these guys, same thing. They're like, I'm fucking in. Who are we gonna kill now? We're gonna go to a jack-off place and kill some jacker-offers? Fucking great. I'm gonna go get a sandwich. So of course, get ready for all the murder and shooting, because no way I'm gonna not kill everyone in the sandwich shop. Someone might laugh at my fucking nose or something. Yeah, so like that's where this movie's center lies, and it's fucking rotten to the core. Also, this motherfucker has jack shit for talent. The director, writer, he is a fucking clown. He's a clone clown. And I mean, like, we brought up Tarantino. Tarantino does tough guys with funny dialogue better. And I also thought of Guy Ritchie, who does like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch and those kind of movies. And like, he creates he creates a series of lowlifes that you kind of root for, because they're funny and charming and they have little quirks about them, but their quirks are interesting and original, and and they have cool names like Bullet Tooth Tony, and you're like, that's a cool name. So like,
you like Dags?
Yeah, do you like Dags? I love Snatch. That's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so yeah, like, you can see all the stuff this guy's trying to do, but he sucks at it. He's ripping off dialogue, he's ripping off characters, he's ripping off scenarios, and it's poking Caveman in the Amygdala is the fucking perfect title for this episode, I think, because it's exactly what this thing is. It's like, like, appeal to the worst in everybody and also have no talent while you're doing it. And when he reaches out and grabs the boob of the unconscious lady, I'm like, yes, this is you, motherfucker. This is you, the director. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't like you, and I don't like your fucking movie. The second time I watched it, I was like, okay, as an action movie, this gets a D-, because some of the things that he does move quick and are action packed, and Willem Dafoe does some crazy shit here and there. But as a movie that I would want to show anyone, and stand behind as like a movie that I liked, like, no, ever. I'd never be like, I like this movie at fucking all. I hate this movie. Yeah, I give it I give it a D- as an action movie, and an F- as a fucking story. And so it gets an F. I'm a minus up from Joshua. I give it an F.
I would go so far as to say, if I went into like a bar that had this poster up, I would turn around and just fucking leave immediately.
Like, you see the guys with all the Tool shirts.
Nope.
Those guys wearing Tool shirts at the bar. And you're like, I think I'm going to go this way.
Sorry, Brian, you have the floor.
Meatball Brian, what's up?
I don't know if I can say anything that you guys haven't already said.
You got any jokes, ethnic jokes to tell us?
Yeah. Funny guy.
I think this movie is a lazy, unoriginal frat boy's wet dream.
Totally.
That might be insulting to frat boys,
but good. I'm happy to disappoint you.
That said, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Oh, name 2.
But I'm saying, okay, for entertainment value alone, would I put in the Boondock Saints or Mr. Limpet Fights the Nazis again? I'd probably put this in. I mean, just because I can't, like, I'm not saying either are good. I'm just saying, but for the fact that there may be a tinge of entertainment value in Boop Boop Tony. I don't know. It's like, and the only thing that's saving grace from this is Willem Dafoe's ridiculous
Strange,
performance, which is
yeah.
ridiculously outlandish. And I mean, Willem Dafoe to me is like someone that can do, like you said, Greg, like anything from whatever Elias and Platoon, and then he's like in a Lars von Trier film,
He's
like Antichrist, and you're like,
Nosferatu,
what the fuck? Like he's just,
he's-
I mean, he always strikes me as a very theater driven actor,
Totally, yeah.
like his performance can be just, I think if you give him, he has that face that's just like, I can very, very expressionable, if that's even a fucking word I just made up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, but
expressive, I think.
expressive,
would be the word,
yes.
yes.
Very
Even if it's not,
expressive.
it's smarter than anything that was in this fucking movie. So
Yeah. It's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. I just was reaching because I think the Willem Dafoe's performance is over the top and interesting. Like, go get me some coffee, like, and a bagel.
Like, you're gonna get me a bagel.
A bagel.
got ourselves a cowboy here.
Yeah. He's like, oh, so we got a big guy theory. Him in drag, he has like Willem Dafoe commits.
He does, man. It's so funny. Yeah, I know.
But
let it never be said that he doesn't commit.
Yeah, I certainly won't be watching this, and this is definitely I give it a D. I think just on like slight sheer entertainment value, it's not good at all.
Yeah,
but it just like I wouldn't, if it was on, I wouldn't watch it again probably. But given like my previous rankings and ratings on other things we've watched, I'm like, okay, this isn't an F to me. I mean, granted, it's wholly offensive in every shape imaginable, but I was like, I mean, the action scenes are okay, kind of, in terms like just a dumb movie. I'm like, okay. So, I'll give it a D. I feel like it's generous, but it's like, whatever.
It is generous.
Don't know much, but I know I hate you.
Yeah, I would rather do my taxes than watch this again.
I watched it twice, and that's the last time I'm gonna watch this.
I would schedule a dentist appointment before I would like put this movie on.
But would you use a hot iron for the tooth? If you had to work on a tooth, you gotta use the hot iron.
I guess I would go short of actual torture. I guess, yeah, but that's apples and oranges.
I'm trying to think of another really bad movie we've done.
Oh God!
So you would choose any movie we've done over this one?
Yes. Yes, I would watch the Peanut Butter Solution again. In fact, I would watch it to find out whether or not the Maestro or whatever would be a better the Signore would be a better fucking mob boss than the mob boss in Boondock Saints.
The mob boss,
an actual Italian,
who's just like just looks like an accountant or a science teacher. Yeah,
great grandson.
All right, what are we doing next week?
All right, well, I had it down to a few. I've seen Robert De Niro do 2 comedies ever. The first one I saw was We're No Angels with Sean Penn, and I was like, he's not very funny. Robert De Niro isn't very funny. And then I saw a movie called Midnight Run, and I was like, this is fucking funny. Like, Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin and Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop and a bunch of other dudes do this movie called Midnight Run, and they have to get a prisoner. Like Charles Grodin is like this accountant for the mob or something, and like they want to kill him, and De Niro's like a bounty hunter or something, and he picks him up, and the cops are after him, and it's this long like cross country like chase movie. But I remembered it being really funny. I haven't seen it since then, so it might, again, like Johnny Dangerously, I might be like, oh, it's not as funny as I thought.
Might be divisive.
It may not have aged well. Who knows? But I do want to see it again, because I remember seeing it when my parents had cable, and we watched it a bunch of times, and it was always funny. We were always like, anytime it came on, we'd be like, hey, Midnight Run, let's watch Midnight Run. So
yeah, I know nothing about this film, so awesome. I can't wait.
I remember being funny. Hopefully it's funny.
Well, I just remember last time you're like, our family couldn't stop talking about it. We laughed about this movie our whole lives.
I know.
Look, Brian, you're on thin fucking ice. You put Boondock Saints on this fucking list.
But I didn't put it with the intention of being like, guys, you got to see this. It was the intention of, I haven't seen this in 25 years. I don't remember it at all. Like, but I remember people in dorm rooms being like, dude, you got to watch this fucking movie. and there are tanks, and there are bombs, and there are guns.
Zombie, zombie, hey, hey.